staggered them a little bit, hoped we could catch some of the game. There were some issues with some disconnects and whatnot, so the game is still going on. We're jumping right in, and we got a
there's
pause
still
timer.
a disconnect.
Yeah.
But we're going to take a look at this game really quickly. Quick intro. We just wanted to get into it because we can take a look at it. So Fnatic versus MYM. Looking down the teams, we have Fnatic. They're going with Reckles. He's their new AD, and I know we had been talking about earlier. You had mentioned how they're really happy to have him. They've had a little bit of inconsistency at that AD position, but Vayne coming in, very strong champion, been played a lot recently. XPK, Ahri, his #1. They also have Shen. They have Nunu. They have Xin on the other side. Sona, Orianna, Aurelia, Kog, and Skarner. So rounding it off. As far as bans, I believe I don't remember exactly the bans, but we'll throw them up in the description.
Oh no, Zyra was banned against Fnatic.
Fnatic banned Zyra. So
did Fnatic ban Zyra? Or
Fnatic banned it because they were like the guys that had created that whole Zyra.
Yeah, they didn't want to. They don't want to face it. I mean, I understand it. Zyra is ridiculously strong, and we saw some pretty good Zyra play this last game with the SK and Eclipse match too, and we saw some pretty bad Xin Zhao play out of the last match as well. So. So we'll see how this shapes up. Cyanide pretty strong on Fnatic. But we're just going to sit and wait for this pause to finish out.
Hopefully Reckles is okay, because it's Reckles who's actually DCing, and he's been DCing on and off as we get into the middle of this game. So coming into it, Fnatic, they've been a really strong team recently. They had first place at the Asus ROG Paris. They've had a string of first place victories. They actually beat Eclipsia in that Asus Paris. But I mean, Eclipse is clearly strong, so they have to be the favorites coming into this IPL Royale match series.
Yeah, I think so. Eclipse does look really strong, but Fnatic has, I mean, they've done really well. They've gotten second or third in 3 out of our 4 IPL 5 qualifiers, so they almost made it to IPL 5. Really, really unfortunate they didn't make it there, but I mean, they continue to be strong. Of course, they won the World Championship in Season 1. We didn't see them at the World Championship in Season 2. My heart was broken because, I wanted to see the defending champions coming in and, putting up a fight. But that... Even
if they lose the first round, at least they would be there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
I think that was a big surprise for everyone, them losing to SK at Gamescom. And, SK was just, thrilled to death.
Well, that was like the strongest SK has ever played.
Right.
And it just happened to be on that weekend when they needed to play best, and they did, and they came through.
They came into the match, they needed to make something happen. They just put down the visor and were ready to go. So really impressive play from SK, and actually they beat Fnatic in Tales of the Lane group stages as well. So just I don't know, coming out, and it's going to be interesting to see how those teams match up, if they even face each other in this double elimination tournament. Yeah, and then we have MYM on the other side, and MYM's is kind of an old esports organization. Meet Your Makers, I mean, mostly FPSs, historically speaking. MYM was always my favorite team.
Oh, wow.
Or, one of them. But, yeah, they've been around for a long time, and the LoL team, mixed success, hasn't really made their stand. So they're still looking to break out. They definitely have a lot of room to grow.
I mean, they are learners, and you could say that Fnatic is the masters, and so hopefully, one day the circle will be complete, and we'll see MYM step up. They are, I mean, they're pretty consistent. They're never like the worst team in Europe, but they're never the best. They're kind of in the middle there, and and they seem to perform well. I feel like they went to a LAN recently and did pretty well. I could be completely off though. Maybe that's not even true.
Yeah, I don't remember any LANs coming in, but you have to imagine that there's a little bit of nervousness MYM going against a team like Fnatic, because Fnatic, they've been one of those upper teams for a while. They just haven't quite beaten the top. They're very consistent though. All of our IPL 5 qualifiers, they're coming in at like second. They just haven't quite made that jump to be beating the M5s of the world and beating the Curse. But MYM coming into this game, they need to play with no fear, because fear leads to the dark side, and that's just they can't allow themselves to get into a negative mentality in this series. Yeah, I mean, the dark side can be strong, but yeah, I think they need to just practice a lot, play a lot, but I mean, they still look good. I don't think they're a bad team by any means. And the thing about League of Legends is when the new patch comes out, like we're on a really new patch right now,
the teams that adapt the quickest are the teams that seem to do the best. I mean, we went through a long period of time because of the World Championship where we didn't see any patches in competitive play, and so there wasn't a lot of changes or anything happening. So it's good to see some changes, some fresh new stuff, and some, you know, see how the teams are managing to adapt to the patch. And so hopefully, I mean, if MYM has a strong grasp on, you know, some of these changes and knows how to play the new Sona, the weaker Sona with like the reduced armor and the life, you know, less life than a minion, then they can do really well, and maybe they'll be one of the top teams going into Season 3.
And just to give you guys a quick recap for what was going on at the beginning of this game, I'm not positive. Our computer was having issues, so we didn't get to come in until about 10 minutes. But Fnatic, they started off with a 5-0 lead, but Curse or MYM, they had early pushes, so they were able to take down. That's weird. I think these towers are down. Okay, good. So the map, it was like bugged, and I was like, I swear all these turrets are down. So Fnatic, I'm not positive, but I believe that they did a lane swap. I think that they sent Vayne and Nunu up top because Aurelia was just absolutely devastated early in the game. She was 0-3 early on, really, you know, just completely shut down. Vayne started off 3-0, so Fnatic got off to a really great early start. And that's kind of something you have to expect when you have a Shen. So Shen's a little bit stronger in the 1v2. Kog and Sona, they have a little bit of harass, but it's been weakened some. So they're not quite that effective in the first couple of levels to shut down the 1v2, whereas Vayne is one of the strongest AD carries in that 1v2 matchup because she works out so well against bruisers. It gives Vayne time to farm. And so you see, both AD carries are very farmed, but one of the big differences in this game is that Aurelia is a little bit behind, but she did just finish that Trinity Force that allows her to dive on the Vayne in particular. They really need that pressure because Fnatic, both teams are kind of using their kiting potential to move in and out, and if Vayne lives through those long fights, then you know they're easily going to be able to win. But I mean, it's the same for both AD carries. Reckles almost getting caught by Mejai's FTW, and everyone's having issues, but hopefully everything sorts out this game shortly.
I guess we'll see how this all comes. Hey, it's coming. It's working. Things are happening on the screen, ladies and gentlemen. Really happy to see that. And yeah, it looks like MYM just getting in position to do some damage on this dragon. And Fnatic's going to need to be careful. They don't want to dive in too hard.
Yeah, they have to watch out that they don't allow Mackler to get in on them. Soaz engaging, but Kog'Maw, he's split off to the side. Xin jumping onto him, but goes down almost immediately. The flash over the wall, and the Sona ultimate in particular was protecting him. But Reckles is in a good situation. He has to worry about Kog chasing him down. Reckles is going to kite Skarner a little bit. He's able to hook around the backside. XPK in the meantime, he's perfectly safe. And so XPK and Reckles kiting around for a while. The Zonias from XPK. Mackler, can he turn it around? One kill for Reckles, but Kog'Maw is going to have him. The issue is, can XPK pick up the kill on the backside? But it doesn't seem that way. So Kog'Maw, even though he was threatened early on in that fight, he was easily able to bring that home for MYM.
Yeah, it looks like he's probably going to be able to try to poke down Ahri here, just trying to chase Persu. Sona's there with no mana, no life, so not a lot of backup there. And Kog'Maw also low mana, so Mackler's going to need to be careful. But that was an interesting team fight. We saw Kog'Maw sit way in the back, forcing the rest of Fnatic to dive super deep into that Baron pit.
And then XPK's trapped.
Oh no, this could be bad.
It's a trap! Get out of there, XPK! He throws it off, picks up Libic.
Oh my gosh, and Orianna just barely squeezing it out there. Very little life, and good on XPK. So it was a trap, unfortunately, and made it. I mean, got one kill. Not a bad turnaround there. Could have been a lot worse. And Orianna taking the blue buff. He's going to be happy about that.
Yeah, so Zaru's in a good situation here, but you have to be concerned. Cyanide, he has that Sunfire's cape, but you know, if he's going down as quickly as he is, if they can't pressure Kog'Maw, then that could be really devastating. But you saw a lot of pressure on the Kog'Maw in that last fight. It's just the flash over the wall. Now the flash is down. That opens them up a little bit more. You know, they can try and make something happen there. So we'll see what they can do. Fnatic goes for that dragon, so they pick it up this time. Weren't able to grab it the previous time, but Mejai's coming in just a little bit too late. He won't be able to grab it. He won't be able to pull anyone. And they will kind of reset. So the game, it's very even. It's a 4K gold lead for Fnatic, but those longer fights for MYM, Kog'Maw is, you know, just really controlling with his range. And so 1v1, I believe, I mean, Vayne at this point should actually, yeah, Vayne should beat Kog. I'm not positive because it's the armor versus the health that Vayne has. So Vayne getting the Giant's belt says she's not bursted down, which is not something that you usually see on
yeah,
an
that's
carry.
really that's interesting.
Whereas the armor for Kog'Maw.
And did you point out the armor boots as well? So that's interesting coming out of Vayne, just trying to play safe, knowing you know, don't want to get bursted down. That's going to be a serious problem.
She already has the attack speed from Nunu, so
yeah,
it really would have helped her out earlier in the game in the laning phase in particular for that tabby.
XPK just laying down some damage, chasing Aurelia out of there. Sona needs to be careful.
Stall.
Yeah.
Because Shen's pushing off the side, and you know, the longer they stall for Soaz, the more damage he's going to do.
Yeah, and that's the annoying thing about Shen, is just that split push ability, and then when you go to close on him, he just teleports to his team, and now you have a 4v5 situation, and nobody wants that, and that ends up being trouble in the team fights. XPK just farming it up here, needs to be a little bit careful. Kog'Maw can just do ridiculous amounts of damage. Nunu going to ward, but getting caught out. Skarner going in, trying to make something happen, knocked away. Gonna be okay, gonna get out of there.
Yeah, really nice job from Cyanide using the quick ultimate to get him out of there. It's going to be down. That does weaken them a little bit in team fights, but it has a fairly short cooldown. It's only about a minute, I believe 90 seconds actually. But they, you know, kind of don't want to press while that's down. Unless they can pick someone off, that'll be fine. But Shen, again, split pushing down bot. So, you know, he's going to just continue to pull ahead of Aurelia, and Shen late game can be very strong if he can pressure Kog. Like, if Shen gets a taunt onto Kog'Maw,
yeah,
then it's over for MYM. That's going to be, you know, Fnatic's, like, dream situation. But they have to worry if they can't protect, if they can't get into Kog'Maw. And you have to consider, like, with Sona and Orianna, MYM's going to be able to protect Kog'Maw fairly easily, and they've been able to do that so far. Then it's going to be really dangerous for Fnatic.
Yeah, MYM just positioning on Baron here. They walk through a ward, so Fnatic knows what's going on, but Shen is bot, so we'll see. Of course, he can just teleport in, so they're going to have to be careful. MYM decides just to back out, not going to risk it at this point.
And so they are kind of stalling here for a second. They want to go for that Baron, but they know that they can't allow Fnatic to poke in on them too much. Majais might actually go for a flash in. He gets XPK. That is it for Fnatic right now. Can he get out of the Zonias? If he can get that dash, there's the dash out. He barely survives. The Ignite takes him down. The Sonal turning it around, though, and Kog is looking pretty. There's the Orianna ultimate to turn it around. And Mackler, if he can get that red buff onto someone, that'll take them down. At the very least, though, they can turn around, grab this Baron. And Fnatic, they had a huge early lead in this game. And you know, the team fights have been back and forth the entire game, starting off with a 5-0 lead for Fnatic, and MYM has slowly pulled themselves back into it and are now kind of the favorites in this game.
Yeah, I would definitely call them the favorites. And Vayne trying to do some damage on Orianna, needs to be careful. Here comes Kog'Maw ultimate, flash out from Vayne. Rekkles is trying to run away. He's going to get out, and looks like this Baron's going to go to MYM pretty handedly. Nunu needs to be
around
careful.
The backside. He's going to try and steal it, but he will go down too quickly. So it is going to be a Baron for them. Vayne trying to poke in, trying to see if he can take down Orianna. Couldn't quite grab him. They get the Baron. They can back off, and that's really going to be tough. You know, they were counting on some of the poke from Ari, but they weren't quite able to get it. They get the vision onto Rekkles, though. They don't quite have the movement speed. Zaru's trying to chase him down. I think Rekkles should be able to get out of there, so they do turn back onto that mid lane. But they should have enough armor at this point where they can push down some of these turrets.
We're seeing two very late game AD carries here, Vayne and Kog'Maw. And Kog'Maw, I mean, just with that extended range, is going to be able to do a lot, put a lot of pressure on Vayne. Vayne's going to need to be careful, not going to have as good a positioning as she's going to want. And Kog'Maw's just going to get to sit kind of in the back and let the team peel the opponent's team off of him and just lay back and do all that damage. Kog'Maw is so strong at this point in the game.
Yeah, and you know, Kog has the team to back him up.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's really a tough situation for Fnatic right now because they can't engage on Kog. XPK getting caught out in that previous fight. Soaz actually teleporting behind them and actually able to get in, but XPK, he's in a dangerous spot. The Zonias from Zaru trying to get out of there. Shen does go down, and Fnatic, they are losing this fight. Majais, he's trying to chase him down, trying to see if he can get that pull. There's another charm. If they can get in range, Kuban slowing them down, they might be able to pull this.
Oh my gosh, and N-rated going down really quickly. Xin Zhao, Cyanide trying to make something happen, but gets caught out and takes and goes down really quickly. And this is MYM in really good shape with a decent amount of health left, and Baron, they're going to try to push this, put some pressure on Vayne. Vayne gets caught out. Kog'Maw's just going to burn him down so fast. And that's going to be it for Rekkles as he goes down. And this, guys, might be the end of the game. XPK caught out as well. And that is an ace. MYM turning this game around. James, you said they were down 5-0 in the beginning of the game, and there is the surrender. MYM takes the first game against Fnatic, and they look pretty good. They look pretty strong right now.
They did look very strong. They were able to take that game.
Yeah.
We'll get the overlay set up right for the next game. But really impressive play, and they couldn't, take them down. They couldn't take down Kog'Maw. And Kog'Maw, even with how strong Vayne is later on in the game, Vayne was kind of threatened constantly. So there was always the threat of Aurelia and Skarner in particular diving onto Vayne, and so Rekkles had to be a little bit more careful in team fights. That's kind of why he went the Warmogs route, which, even though it makes him incredibly tanky, it drastically reduces some of his damage output. And so, Kog'Maw just tearing through them in those fights. Definitely an unusual build. I haven't seen it before on Vayne, but I understand with some of the pressure, it's like that uber late game build. Yeah. And I don't know. We'll see what Fnatic can do coming into game number 2 to try and turn that around. It's actually that build. It kind of reminds me of old Sivir. Old Sivir, when before Sivir was reworked, you would just aggressively push down lanes, and you would get a Warmogs, get an Atmas potentially, Bloodthirster, and you would just fully stack it, and you'd just be like this tanky god in team fights. But I haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah, I haven't seen that in a while. Kog'Maw, it was the peel on the rest of the team was able to just really protect Kog'Maw. Kog was able to just sit back and just do ridiculous amounts of damage. We saw Ahri and Shen make attempts to try to dive back and make Kog and take out Kog, but then they would just get grabbed by Skarner or something, or an ult from Sona, and they would just hold him in place and allow Kog'Maw to just lay down the damage. And there was nothing they could do. The team comp was too strong at that point in the game. It was too late, and Kog'Maw was too big.
Well, that's it for game number 1, guys. We will be coming back shortly, game number 2. Once again, check out all of our giveaways. We have IGN.com/IPL giveaways. We're actually giving away 10 VIP tickets. So, go there. It's actually 5 pairs of 2 VIP tickets. So get your tickets if you'd like to come to IPL 5. That's going to be exciting. Yeah. There's also Instagram. If you guys use Instagram, go and, just send a photo with hashtag IPL 5. And you will actually be entered into a drawing there. I don't remember what that is. Do you remember what the giveaway is?
Millions of dollars. We're just giving people millions.
Millions of dollars. Oh, my goodness.
I can't remember the giveaway either, but I know it's something amazing. Yeah. That I want.
It is something. I remember hearing it was something cool, but I don't remember exactly
It's interesting watching all these giveaways with all this stuff that I would love to have. I mean, maybe not the VIP tickets IPL because I'm going already, but...
We had like twice as many giveaways planned, but you just walk into the back closet and just like scoop it up, and you like push it in your bag. You're like, I am IPL, and then you walk off. I
have stacks of Astro headphones at my house.
But we'll be right back, guys. We're gonna go to a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Game number 2, Fnatic versus MYM in the IPL Royale series. So week number 1. It's our first time doing it. Thanks for.